Hello mga organizers, welcome back to another discussion on crime against national security and law of the nation. And now we are on Article 120 of the revised penal code about correspondence with hostile country. Under Article 120 of the revised penal code, this provides the following elements when the crime is committed. First, that it is in time of war in which the Philippines is involved. It is unlike any other crimes provided under crime against national security of the nation, where those crimes are committed during peacetime, but this correspondence with hostile country is committed during wartime. So remember on that, please take note that this correspondence with hostile country is committed during war crime or wartime. Second, that the offender makes correspondence with an enemy country or any territory occupied by enemy troops. So what do you mean by correspondence? Correspondence meaning to say that you created or you made a communication by means of letters to another country by means of friendly baron or business operation, provided that such communication or correspondence is prohibited by the government. Even if it is an informal letters, as long as it is prohibited by the government, then you may be held liable on correspondence with hostile country. What is important here is that the so-called correspondence, when it is prohibited, the word is prohibited by the government. However, there are some instances where that correspondence is created to be held liable under 120, even if it is not prohibited by the government, when such letters or when such communications is carried on ciphers or conventional signs and containing notice or information which might be useful to the enemy. So remember this, because these instances does not require prohibition by the government as long as it is committed during wartime, when such communication na siya gitawag na to nga cipher information or conventional signs. And such information is mamahimo siya nga taming or magamit as offense to the enemy's country against the Philippine territory. So muna siyang correspondence with hostile country. Pinaka-important is the word correspondence. So let us have an illustration. The Philippines is at war with another country. Here comes X, a Filipino citizen. He has a pen pal who is a citizen of the country, which is at war with the Philippines. The competent authority or the president issued a declaration of proclamation saying that there should be no correspondence to the enemy state. But X missed his pen pal, and so he wrote in a small piece of paper, "I love you, I miss you, mwah mwah mwah." Is X liable of the crime of correspondence with the enemy? As what I have mentioned earlier, that when such information, regardless even if it is used for letters, for friendly purposes, for business purposes, or maybe an informal letters, as long as it is prohibited by the government, you are liable under this article of the revised penal code. Based on the facts provided, it is very clear that there was prohibition. It is prohibited by the government, and that prohibition was issued by the president. Klaro ta sa atong facts nga there was a declaration of the president na kung magpadala ka og any correspondence or communication to that enemy country, you will be held liable under correspondence with hostile country. Now, is X liable of the crime of correspondence with the enemy? Answer: X is liable because there was a declaration issued by competent authority that correspondence with hostile country is prohibited, and if there is no declaration coming from the competent authority prohibiting correspondence, the crime will arise if the said crime is carried on ciphers or conventional signs or containing notice or information which might be useful to the enemy. So as what I have mentioned, based on the elements provided under Article 120, even if there is no prohibition by the competent authority or by the government itself or by the president, when such information is nakapasulod dito nga mahimong useful to the enemy country or with there is codes or ciphers or conventional sign that will affect the defense of the Philippine territory, still that person is liable under correspondence with hostile country. But on this case, say for example, nagpadala kag suwat sa imong pinpal, kag gimingaw ka, nag I love you ka, nagmuamua ka, and without any prohibition, remember, without any prohibition from the government or from the competent authority or from the president, you will not be held liable for correspondence with hostile country. Klaro ta? Klaro ta, based on the elements provided under 120 of the revised penal code, and of course based on the facts that I have been provided for you, in order for you to understand, I hope nakakuha mo. Ha? Simple and easy ra ang bukto kung makamemorize, and of course makasabot ka kung unsa ang elements in the commission of the crime. So again, I hope you understand. So let us continue on the next discussion about piracy versus mutiny and versus Presidential Decree PD 532. Thank you and God bless us all.